The world once feared a sound. Not explosions, not cannons, but the thunder of hooves across the horizon. From the empty grasslands of Mongolia came warriors who destroyed kingdoms, burned cities, and built the largest empire the world had ever seen. Led by one man, Genghis Khan. And when the Mongols arrived, history changed forever. The wind howled across the endless grasslands of Mongolia. No walls, no cities, no roads, just sky and riders. In the year 1206, a man stood before thousands of mounted warriors near the Onon River. He was not born a king. He had once been abandoned, hunted, starving. But on that day, the tribes of the Mongolian steppe gave him a new name, Genghis Khan. And within a few decades, the world would tremble at the sound of Mongol hooves. Entire kingdoms vanished. Great cities burned. Armies that once believed themselves unbeatable were crushed in days. From China to the Middle East, from the frozen forests of Russia to the gates of Europe, the Mongols carved out the largest contiguous empire in human history. But how did a group of nomadic horsemen conquer so much of the world? And why were they feared more than almost any empire before them? This is the story of the Mongols. The story begins on the harsh Mongolian steppe in the 12th century. Life there was brutal. The winters were deadly cold. Food was never guaranteed. Tribes constantly fought one another for survival. Loyalty changed quickly, and betrayal was common. Children learned to ride horses almost before they could walk. Every man was expected to fight. Among these tribes was a boy named Temujin. His early life was filled with suffering. When Temujin was only 9 years old, his father was poisoned by a rival tribe. After his father's death, the family that once followed them abandoned Temujin, his mother, and his siblings. They were left alone on the steppe with almost nothing. At times, they survived by eating roots and small animals. Temujin grew up in a world where weakness meant death, and slowly that hardship shaped him into something extraordinary. As he became older, Temujin began gathering allies. Some followed him because of loyalty, others because of fear. He proved himself to be intelligent, ruthless when necessary, and incredibly determined. But what made him different from many tribal leaders was this: he rewarded people based on merit, not family status. A poor shepherd could rise to become a general if he was talented enough. That idea was revolutionary for the time. Over years of war, alliances, betrayals, and battles, Temujin united the fractured Mongol tribes under one banner. Then, in 1206, he was declared Genghis Khan, meaning something close to universal ruler. The Mongol Empire had begun. At first, neighboring kingdoms underestimated them. That would become a terrible mistake. The Mongols were unlike any army the world had seen. Every Mongol warrior was trained from childhood. They were masters of horseback riding and archery. A single rider could shoot arrows with deadly accuracy while galloping at full speed. Their mobility was terrifying. While traditional armies moved slowly with heavy equipment, Mongol forces could travel enormous distances in very little time. They often carried multiple horses, switching mounts during long journeys. Some armies moved faster than news itself, and their strategy was brilliant. The Mongols used deception constantly. They staged fake retreats, tricking enemies into chasing them before surrounding and destroying them. They spread fear deliberately. Sometimes, if a city surrendered peacefully, it would be spared. But if it resisted and forced the Mongols into a long siege, the consequences could be catastrophic. Stories of massacres spread rapidly across Asia and Europe. In many cases, fear alone caused cities to surrender before a battle even began. But the Mongols were not simply mindless destroyers. That is one of the biggest misconceptions in history. Yes, their conquests caused enormous destruction and loss of life. Entire cities were devastated during wars. But at the same time, the Mongols were also highly organized rulers who built systems that connected much of the known world. They valued trade. They protected merchants. They created communication networks across their empire. They allowed different religions to exist under Mongol rule. In some ways, they destroyed kingdoms. In other ways, they connected civilizations. And soon, their expansion exploded across the continent. One of Genghis Khan's first major targets was northern China. At the time, China was divided into several kingdoms, including the Jin dynasty in the north. The Mongols launched relentless campaigns against them. Siege warfare became essential, and the Mongols adapted quickly, learning techniques from Chinese engineers. City after city fell. Then came Central Asia. This campaign would become legendary. The Khwarezmian Empire, which stretched across parts of modern-day Iran, Uzbekistan, and surrounding regions, originally had a chance for peace with the Mongols. Genghis Khan sent merchants and diplomats to establish trade relations, but disaster followed. The governor of a Khwarezmian city accused the merchants of spying and executed them. Genghis Khan demanded punishment for the crime. Instead, the ruler of the empire humiliated the Mongol envoys. That decision changed history. Genghis Khan responded with overwhelming force. The Mongol armies stormed through Central Asia with astonishing speed. Major cities like Bukhara and Samarkand fell. The empire collapsed under the invasion. According to historical accounts, Genghis Khan reportedly told the people of Bukhara, "I am the punishment of God. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you." Whether those exact words were truly spoken remains debated by historians, but the quote became one of the most famous lines associated with him. And as the Mongols advanced westward, Europe began hearing terrifying stories. Cities destroyed, armies annihilated, entire populations fleeing. Many believed the Mongols were unstoppable. By the 1220s, Mongol forces had reached the edges of Eastern Europe. Russian principalities were defeated one after another. In 1223, Mongol generals crushed a coalition of Russian princes at the Battle of the Kalka River. Still, Europe did not fully understand the danger yet. That realization would come later. Meanwhile, Genghis Khan himself continued expanding his empire until his death in 1227. The exact cause of his death remains uncertain even today. Some legends claim he died from injuries after falling from a horse. Others suggest illness. The truth may never be fully known, but his death did not stop the empire. If anything, the Mongols became even more powerful afterward. His successors continued conquering on an unimaginable scale. Under Ögedei Khan, the Mongols pushed deeper into Europe. In 1241, they invaded Poland and Hungary. European armies were crushed in battle after battle. At the Battle of Legnica in Poland, Mongol tactics completely overwhelmed the defenders. Then, at the Battle of Mohi in Hungary, the Mongols destroyed one of Europe's strongest armies. Panic spread across the continent. Many believed all of Europe would fall next, but suddenly the Mongol advance stopped. Why? Because Ögedei Khan had died far away in Mongolia. Mongol leaders returned east to participate in the selection of the next great Khan. Europe had escaped, partly because of politics thousands of kilometers away. But even without conquering all of Europe, the Mongols already ruled an empire unlike anything the world had seen. At its peak, the Mongol Empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe. No empire in history had ever connected so much territory continuously, and something remarkable happened under Mongol rule. Trade flourished across Eurasia. The Silk Road became safer than it had been in centuries. Merchants, travelers, scientists, and diplomats moved across enormous distances under Mongol protection. This period is sometimes called the Pax Mongolica, the Mongol Peace. Goods traveled across continents. So did ideas. Chinese inventions, Persian science, Middle Eastern mathematics, and European knowledge moved more freely than before. Technologies spread faster. Cultures interacted in new ways. Even the famous Venetian traveler Marco Polo journeyed through Mongol territories and later described the wealth and organization of the empire under Kublai Khan. And that brings us to another important figure. Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan. Kublai completed the Mongol conquest of China and established the Yuan dynasty in 1271. Under his rule, Beijing became the center of a massive empire. he adopted many aspects of Chinese administration while still maintaining Mongol authority. But ruling such a giant empire was never easy over time. The Mongol Empire began splitting into separate regions called khanates. The Golden Horde ruled parts of Russia. The Il Khanate controlled Persia. The Chagatai Khanate dominated Central Asia, and the Yuan dynasty ruled China. These regions often acted independently and sometimes even fought each other. Slowly, the empire began weakening. In China, resentment against Mongol rule grew stronger over time. Eventually, the Yuan dynasty collapsed and was replaced by the Ming dynasty in 1368. In Persia, the Ilkhanate fractured. In Russia, Mongol power faded gradually as local states became stronger. And across Eurasia, the empire that once seemed unstoppable slowly disappeared. But the legacy of the Mongols never vanished. Even today, historians debate their true impact. Were they brutal conquerors responsible for immense destruction? Yes, many campaigns caused devastating loss of life and suffering. But were they also empire builders who connected civilizations, encouraged trade, and reshaped world history? Also, yes, the Mongols changed the course of history forever. They transformed warfare with speed, mobility, intelligence networks, and psychological tactics. They connected East and West in ways rarely seen before. They reshaped political borders across Asia and Europe, and perhaps most importantly, they proved that even the mightiest kingdoms could fall. A civilization with massive walls, wealthy cities, and giant armies could still collapse against a force that moved faster, adapted quicker, and fought harder. That is why the Mongols became one of the most feared empires in history. Not simply because they conquered, but because they appeared from the endless horizon like a storm no one could stop. Imagine standing on the walls of a medieval city centuries ago. In the distance, you see dust rising across the plains. Then thousands of riders emerge, silent at first. Then the thunder of hooves begins to shake the earth, and you realize something horrifying. The Mongols have arrived, and history is about to change forever.